Hi there and welcome to The Appeal. As you can see, I'm at Wembdon Cricket Club today, going through their youth development system and a bit more information about the club. Daniel Bingham has been very kindly joined me, and we're just going to go through a few things so you can know more about Wembdon. So Daniel, how are preparations going this year?
Yeah, been good. Been really good. We started our sort of senior-wise in February, sort of going over to the county ground, which was sort of really well attended. More people around this year than that time last year, so that was a positive start. And then we go to Haygrave as well, sort of February, March on the weekends with our sort of youth and with seniors. And again, numbers have been certainly senior-wise. It seems whether it's university and things like that, but more work-wise, more people have been around this year. So a great start. And we should have had our first game at the weekend, but the outfield was a bit wet Saturday, and so we decided to call it Friday, and probably the right thing to do. We've still got a couple more weeks of pre-season, so numbers have been really good outdoors. We've had a few outdoor sessions now as well, so numbers are continuing to sort of grow with the youth each week and things like that. So everyone's coming out the woodwork. So going well. Good.
So do you have an overseas player this year?
Yeah, we do. He's coaching, helping coach behind us actually. Joshua Mars from sort of Western Australia, Mount Lawley District Cricket Club he plays for. But same guy as we had last year. Had a good season last year, so hopefully same again. Yeah. And he's a good lad. Helps out with the coaching and groundwork and. Really top bloke.
So how do you go about getting your overseas players then?
We've more recently, in Josh in particular, it's actually just through sort of a club member, a contact who played for the club as an overseas player originally, probably 15 years, maybe even 20 years ago. And like I say, originally from Western Australia, had gone back to visit family and friends, and we sort of said, well, have a little look around. And he sort of met up with a few of his former cricketing friends over there and put us in contact with Josh. So that's how we got Josh. I mean, you go back sort of a couple of decades ago, then we had quite good links with Wanneroo over in Australia, and a number of players come over sort of 3-4 years in a row from them. We have occasionally used an agent and had a couple of good New Zealander and sort of South African a few years back. We've also had a couple of bad experiences as well. So it's when we knew someone who knew someone, and you could, and you trust them and things like that, and you know what you're getting. That's obviously peace of mind.
Sometimes it can be a gamble when they get here. You can then find out.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so a bit more about the actual club then. So how many teams do you actually have here at Wembdon?
Okay, we've got 4 Saturday sides. We've had 4 sides now for 6, 7, 8 years. A Sunday 11, we play in sort of the Taunton District League. We've got a ladies side, probably about 5 or 6 years now. We were approached by a couple of local ladies interested in sort of playing some cricket, and there wasn't anything locally at the time, so we started something up. I know it's sort of 5, 6 years down the line, it's still quite in its infancy really, but we've got a core group of sort of 10, 12 girls that are here, or ladies sort of here, every week training, and come sort of May, we'll start their fixtures, and they play a mixture of sort of pairs cricket and 20-20 cricket, all hardball. They have about 10 fixtures a season to them. And then sort of, we've got under 19 sort of 20-20 side who got sort of finals day last year, and then our youth setup, which has always been the biggest sort of strong point of Wembdon. This year we're giving it a go with 6 sides. 2 at every age group this year. We've had a couple of under 11s, under 13 sides for a few years now, but the first time we're going to give a go at 2 under 15 sides. So busy, quite an active programme. Keeps us busy anyway.
Yeah, fantastic. So your first team then, what league are they in?
Okay, first team are we're in the sort of WEP, or the West of England structure, in the Somerset Premier League. So that's sort of tier 3 now that they're in. So yeah, I mean, we've been in that division or thereabouts for about the last sort of 10, 12 years, certainly ever since I've been in the club, all bar sort of a couple of seasons, one where we went higher and one where we went lower. We've been in that sort of same division. And I mean, under the restructure this year, it's sort of half the sides we're going to be playing are new, so new grounds, new opposition, new faces. It'll be a welcome sort of relief to a certain extent, really, in a new challenge. So.
Good. And for that first team, then, how do you think they're going to get on this year?
Good, I hope. I think we've got as good a chance as any. It'll be an interesting season. Like I say, with a large number of the sides we'll be playing, we haven't played for a few years. side who won the division last year. We actually beat home and away, but they went on to sort of win the division. So I think last year was sort of, we were perhaps a little bit too inconsistent.
Yeah.
We delivered a few cracking performances and then silly losses as well along the way. I genuinely, looking at the sort of the sides in our division, I think it's a case of anybody on their day probably could beat anybody. So it's going to be an interesting. I mean, if we start strongly and get momentum, then we've got every chance.
Okay.
I don't want to be too cocky.
Okay, and the second team then, what league are they in?
So second team, and now they were within the West of England structure themselves for a couple of seasons. But obviously, as the local leagues have sort of restructured, they now find themselves in Division 4 of the Somerset Cricket League.
Yeah.
When they left the Somerset Cricket League a few years ago to go into the Whipple, they would have been coming out of sort of Division 2. So they're around. They've gone roundabout back in the same sort of area. Their experience of playing in the West of England League against some good opposition and Bristol teams and things like that, I think is going to put them in a good place. They're quite a young side, and we're really sort of promoting that this year of being sort of a place to sort of breed the next sort of generation of cricketers for the first team. But I think they're one side in particular in the club that really should be sort of pushing. I don't want to touch wood, but is really should be looking sort of for promotion at least, really. Yeah.
Okay. And out of your squad then, what players do you think teams will need to look out for? Who are your stars?
Stars. Got to be our overseas, obviously. To start with, had a really good season. Sort of back coming, rocked up one game, and Mitchell Johnson was playing against him, and by all accounts hit him in the rib a couple of times, but he also hit 47. So
Good luck.
he did well. So that's keep. The squad hasn't changed much for the last few years, so there's always sort of the likes of sort of Richard Gower have a good season with the bat, then we'll be in good place. John Brockway, if he sort of comes off as well. But also, looking around the first team, we're sort of hoping sort of Tom Lott, partly with his leg spin, if he can really work on that, and he has the ability to deliver it. It's just finding consistency, which is always difficult with leg spin in general.
It's something you don't see much of, isn't it, leg spin?
Yeah, I think I've sort of found it a lot here with the junior cricketers. You'll get quite a few will do it, but it's then when you get to sort of 16, 17, 18 when you really need to be practicing it, and suddenly you're coming up against men who can hit it much further if you get it slightly wrong. And often I find in the lower teams there's more agricultural shots and they get less respect, and it's hard to sort of stick at it. And one or two, suddenly they become batters or they do other things, and and he's also going to be looking to sort of open the batting, and he has a lot of potential, so that's sort of someone younger to work out for. And I think, like I said, I touched on our second team being sort of a bit of a breeding ground this year of sort of future talent. There's a few there. Another leg spinner, or sort of Chinaman anyway, who sort of has a bit of potential if he can work on it. Max Selleck, another one who's coaching behind us tonight, who sort of played in the second team for the first time last year, but chipped in with sort of 20 odd wickets and hit a couple of 50s as well. So these are all sort of 16, 17-year-old lads. So so there's a good future there. So I think there's a few names to look out for, definitely. Yeah.
Some teams to be warned.
Yeah.
So as we can see then, your youth setup is very good here. So how have you gone about that? How have you got this many kids here?
I think I've been lucky to inherit, to a certain extent, a good youth system. I mean, there are people at the club still playing, that are now in their 40s, that were a part of a Wembdon youth system sort of, years and years and years ago. So there's always been a good sort of setup. Over the last sort of 6-7 years, we've been heavily involved with the Somerset Cricket Board in Chance to Shine initiative. Nowadays, really, now we're that far down the line, our focus is sort of on a couple of schools. Wembdon St George's being our sort of main catchment of players, and they're a fan. I mean, as a school goes, they're absolutely mad for cricket, and provide a lot of opportunities there, and a lot of boys and girls come back from there.
Children this way.
Yeah, definitely. And we go in. Myself goes in on a Friday morning during the summer, and we probably do about 30-40 hours of coaching during the summer there. And across the town, sort of a number of sort of Eastovers, Cannington, Kingsmore. The whole host of schools that we've gone in over the last 6 or 7 years, and that's taken us from having really one side at every age group to now where we're at 2 at every age group, and it's taken a bit of a time. I mean, and also there are a few lads and ladies that we first picked up 6-7 years ago that are now starting to play for our men's teams and ladies teams as well and stuff. So So it's worked. You know, the migrations happen, but they've also stuck around at the club, which is. And we just try and give everybody the opportunity, really. I think that's the main thing. The reason of having sort of as many teams is not all about the winning. Of course, we want to do as well as possible, but the reason for having two sides is so everybody, you know, there's not another 8 players not getting picked that way. Everybody's playing. You know, it's a challenge to run it all. You know, the coaches and managers that we need. But you know, they're valuable members of the club, and everybody progresses at different rates. You never know how good they'll be when they're sort of 17, 18. You know, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got a new ground being built.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about it and you know what it will mean for the club?
Yeah. I mean, well, I think it's going to put if the club wasn't already on the map, I think it's certainly going to be a standout venue and sort of. Yeah, certainly a place that people hopefully are going to really want to play. I mean, in terms of the pitches and things like that, I mean, really they're now complete. Our 3rd and 4th team are going to look to play some cricket there this summer. The 1st and 2nd team aren't, so we never intended to. We will give it sort of another 12 months for the squares to sort of establish. So really it's just a maintenance sort of phase. In terms of the building, like any building project, sometimes they sort of go off track a little bit and slow up, and unfortunately, you know, we had a situation prior to sort of the Christmas New Year where the company building it went into administration, unfortunately, and at the time, you know, they were flying along and had about 2 months left to go, so nothing's really happened for the past sort of 4 months or so, which is really frustrating because I could have been stood here, we could have been stood there, and it could have all been finished, but the project's back out for tender. Contractors are putting in their sort of bid, as it were, this week and next, and things will start up again. So a couple months left to go. Hopefully we'll be, like I say, using it for sort of training. We'll be going down there having some senior and ladies training there as soon as the netting's put up on the nets, and that's a pretty impressive facility in itself. You know, much better than what we have here, and hopefully having a beer there in no time, no time at all. But I say it's been 7 or 8 years hard work, not just from the cricket club have been involved, but a local junior football club, and I say it's going to be a village hall, it's going to be a preschool, it's going to be a fantastic facility for the community, and one that we'll be proud to be a part of. Been hard work and had a lot more hair when we started it, but yeah, it's going to be a cracking facility.
So okay, so new players that want to come, new juniors or anything like that, how do they come? How do they get in touch?
We, like a lot of clubs now, you know, we've got our website, we've got Twitter and Facebook and all those sort of things. So if you go on those sort of pages and sites, then contact details are on there, times of training and all that sort of thing. You'll find my details are usually on there, or get, you know, email address, and sort of get in touch, give us a call, email us, and we can let you know more. I mean, essentially, ladies train on a Monday evening, juniors on a Tuesday. But at the moment behind us, it's sort of a lot of under 11, so that's really anyone 4 or 5 years old up to sort of 11, primary school age then basically. And when this lot are done at 6:30, the under 13s and under 15s come down to 8 o'clock. And there's probably 6, 7, 8 girls out there as well tonight, so boys and girls are very welcome to come along to these sessions. Thursday's our senior sort of club night. Like I say, in a couple of weeks' time we'll be moving to the new ground, and sort of where we can all sort of net every team side by side and things like that. So always, as you know, like every club, we run a lot of sides, but we're always on the lookout for new members, and that goes for people who are happy to do a cricket tee, do a bit of umpiring and scoring, as well as sort of playing or managing a side, and just be a part of the club. And that, going back to the new place, that is the one thing we're really sort of hoping, being right in the centre of the village, unlike being just on the outskirts really here, is that we will get a lot more people. I mean, the fields are now open for people to use. You go down there any time of the day, and there are tons of people out there using the facility for recreational use and using it responsibly, and we look forward to, you know, playing there and having that bit of a crowding audience and people walking their dog and stopping in for a beer and that sort of thing. So, you know, members are always welcome, so just, you know, they shouldn't feel, you know, we're not a closed shop, you know, and everybody and anybody's sort of welcome. Come on down, and I say we've got a bar here, and there's always a nice spot, and normally in the far corner there's a nice place to go and take your drink and watch a bit of cricket out the way of the wind and top up the tan sort of thing.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your
Yeah,
time.
thank you very much.
Season.
Yeah, thank you.
Well.
Cheers.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for watching.